Well, it certainly looks like somebody's been trigger happy on this wall with their drill. I've no idea why there are so many holes in this wall. They all had fixings in. They obviously had the previous owners in this property obviously had something rather heavy on the wall to have that many screws and holes and fixings. Anyway, my job is to fill those holes, and for that I'm using this Bartoline 1876, the professional range, multi-purpose powder filler. Check it out. Hey, what's up guys and girls? Yes, it's your main man JB, back once again, another video, another product review, and this time I'm filling these holes with this Bartoline filler. So as I've said already, there are quite a lot of holes, no idea why. I need to fill them, and this is the product that I'm using today. Now this has been specially formulated for the professional decorator, and it has a 30 to 40 minute working time. You can fill holes up to 10 millimeters deep. You've got 12 plus hours paintable, depending on weather, temperature, that kind of thing. And it's also drillable and fixable once fully cured. Well, it's easy to sand, will not shrink or slump, will not flash or grin, and it dries white. Well, we're going to see about that because we're going to use it right now, so stay tuned and check it out. Well, as you can see, the hole is quite big, so I put some polystyrene in the hole because there's a cavity there and I don't want the filler just to drop down the wall. So by putting that in there, it'll actually help me to pack the filler in without it dropping and falling out. So I've done that. Now let's get the filler mixed up. You can mix this either in a pot like this. It is completely clean. Make sure there's no dust or any debris or anything in there. Make sure it's all nice and clean. But you could also use it on a hawk or just a piece of board, really. Really depends on how much you're going to mix up as well. I'm not going to need a huge amount for this job, so we'll just do it in here for now. And the mixing amounts is 1 part water to 2.5 parts filler. So I'm just going to put some in here, like so. You can see, and with a stirrer or a knife, a filling knife, we can just add a bit of water and we'll just mix that up. And we'll just add some more filler in there. Probably got a bit too much water in initially, but I'm definitely going to need plenty of filler anyway. So what we're looking for is a smooth, thick paste, and it really is starting to thicken now, as you can see. So that's starting to become ideal. Now if you're going to be filling big holes, then you really want to have it a little bit thicker. If you have it all runny and you're trying to put this in a big hole, it's just going to ooze out and sag and what have you. So yeah, just make the thickness and the consistency of it, you know, dependent and in relation to the size of the hole that you're filling. But that's actually looking really good now. You can see there that it's quite thick. It's certainly not sagging, so that's probably about right. Now you have got a 30 to 40 minute working time with this filler, but that's really dependent on the weather, humidity, temperature, that kind of thing. But what I'm going to do just before we start is to scrape the wall, just to make sure there's no loose bits on the wall, and I'm just using a scraper. This is one of my favourite scrapers, really sharp, and this is excellent for just smoothing off the wall, and that's all quite good actually. So with that done, I'm just going to take a damp cloth and just give those holes a wipe, because you don't want any dust on here, because it will prevent the filler from adhering to the hole and the plasterboard. And also, if the surface that you're putting the filler on or into is quite porous, then it's also a good idea. go, just give that a wipe. That probably looks a little bit different now, shows up a bit more because that plaster's just a little bit wet. But that's going to be perfect for getting that filler in. Some of these holes are deeper than 10mm, so I'm not going to attempt to get all of this filled in one go. I'm definitely going to do 2 lots. So we don't need to be too fussy about how it looks the first time, as long as we can get plenty in there. And also just keeping it smooth to the wall. I don't want to make lots of mess on the wall. So we just push that in and just smooth that off. That's fine, I'm happy with that. So we're just going to need to do that with all these holes. Often the temptation can be, once you've just put a bit of filler over the top, you think, oh yeah, that's filled. But quite often it's only filled it very close to the surface, when really what you want to do is keep pushing it in the hole, because the more you get in there, the more successful the fill will be. There we go, I'm happy with that one. Definitely helping having that polystyrene in there as well, so it doesn't go all the way in and disappear. Some of them I might get away with in one go, but I'm not too worried about achieving that, because I definitely have to come back and do it again. There we go, that's roughly how I'm going to do it for all the holes. So I'll crack on with that, and you can go and get yourself a cup of tea or something. So there you go, there's the first fill, and I'm happy with that. You know, it's less than 10mm now. These holes are less than 10mm. I've really shoved and stuffed the filler right in that hole. So I'm really happy that it's gone far enough in. So I'm going to leave that for a while now, and the drying time is really dependent on whether you're indoors, outdoors, the temperature, the humidity, the size of the hole, how thick or runny you've mixed up your filler. So what we'll do, we'll come back in a few hours, we'll have a look, and if it's dry enough, we'll put another coat on. Right then, so it has been just a couple of hours, and you can probably see how the filler has dried on the wall. It looks quite white there now. So feeling the filler inside the hole, it's hardened quite a bit. The surface of the filler has hardened quite a bit, and certainly enough for me to put another coat or another layer of filler on top. So what I need to ensure is that when I'm pushing the filler on, that it's not pushing this filler further into the wall. And I can definitely say that by just listening to that, that's the filler. So that's definitely hardened enough for me to put another fill in the wall. So first thing I want to do is just get rid of this rough surface on the wall here. Now I'm not going to sand it at this point, there's no need to do that. I'm just going to get my sharp scraper and just start cleaning it up with that. And you can see that comes off really easy, and it's actually quite powdery as it does that, where it's completely dried on the surface of the wool. So yeah, the wool is nice and smooth, and those holes are ready to be filled. Make sure I don't dig the scraper into the filler at this point. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, that's definitely hardened enough for the next coat. Now, there's no doubt that if it was winter and it was cold in here, for example, that would have taken a lot longer. So it really does depend on the temperature. Okay, wiped over with a damp cloth. I've blown any dust out of the hole. And let's get some more filler mixed up and get it in. So again, I've got my filler nice thickness, and it's certainly not going to sag. So this time I'm going to use a slightly wider filling knife, just to really ensure that I get a nice flat finish on the wool. Now I am going to leave it slightly proud. I don't want to try and get it completely flat. I want it to be just slightly above, so I can get a little bit of sandpaper on it and get it super smooth. I need to make sure that I'm getting it in the hole as before, so there's no sort of air pockets or anything in there. Fantastic, so all the holes are filled, as you can see, slightly proud of the wool. We're going to leave that for today now. I'm not going to touch it, I'm going to leave it till tomorrow. We'll come back and we'll give it a sand. 24 hours later, and that is completely dry. You can see how white it is. It's absolutely solid. So what we're going to do next is to just give it a light sanding in preparation for painting. I'm not going to be painting it in this video, but it will be ready to be painted by the time I've finished. Now, I'm going to use a piece of 120 paper, and I'm going to work really hard not to push too deep into that hole or rub it too much in one position, because you'll tend to get a bit of a dip in the wall if you do that. So a big piece of paper, nice and light over the whole surface, and we'll get that super smooth. If you're doing any kind of sanding, then make sure you've got yourself some kind of dust mask, because something is better than nothing. Here we go. So that is now completely smooth. That is lovely. That has dried really nicely, and it's really smooth. It really is. So let's get the rest of these sanded down and take a final look. There you go. So we'll just give that a little wipe with a damp cloth just to clean it up. And that's perfect. So that is completely ready for painting. So there you have it. That's how we're filling large holes in a wall using Bartoline 1876 the professional range multi-purpose powder filler. So if you've got something to say, why not leave it in the comments box down below, and I'll do my best to read it and respond. I do hope you enjoyed the video. Give us a thumbs up if you did, that would be absolutely fantastic. Remember to subscribe, like and share and all that lot, and I guess I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.